We can't even go to sleep and wake up without another case of police brutality all over the news from a white cop and another young black male. This one is hitting home because it's actually right up the block from me, and I would love to show y'all the experience that we as black men have to go through living in a segregated state like Michigan. Listen.
Change tonight.
Logan Davis says a police officer wrongly arrested him after putting him in a chokehold, and now his family is suing the city and the police officer. 7 investigator Heather Catallo joins us live right now with more on this. Heather.
Well, Carolyn and Dave, this is the lawsuit that was just filed in federal court. Logan Davis and his family say they believe he was targeted because of his race, but the Sterling Heights police chief denies that.
Put your hand behind.
Of course they are going to deny that, especially with everything that's going on right now with George Floyd. Of course they're going to deny that they stopped that boy, because they didn't stop him because he was black. They stopped him because he was what? He wasn't committing a crime. He was just looking for shelter. What is the problem? This is the life that we have to go through. If you're not from Detroit, let me put you here. It's a saying that black parents tell their kids when they first growing up and you want to explore the world. Your parents are going to sit you down and they're going to give you the racism talk. And they're going to teach you why you shouldn't go across 8 Mile. Because the police keep our city so segregated. Black people have PTSD from crossing 8 Mile. They're going to East Point, you get stopped. You go to jail, they take your car. Warren, same thing, St. Clair Shores. It doesn't matter if you're black, you're dark skinned, whatever, they're going to stop you. And they're going to assume that you got guns and drugs on you. And some people just don't want to deal with that crap. Some people are really just legit and trying to live their life. Some people don't have license, but they still going to work. And we got to go across 8 Mile to actually work because there isn't any jobs in the city for a lot of black people. Sad, but it's true. But we all get that race talk. We all get that 8 Mile talk. Ask anybody from Detroit. They'll tell you. Yeah, my parents gave me that 8 Mile talk. I put that on my mama.
Your back. Put your hand behind, because I want your ID. Put your hand behind your back.
Logan Davis says he had just finished his after-school job at a sub shop last year when a Sterling Heights police officer approached the 18-year-old. We're not identifying the officer because he has not been charged with a crime.
The whole time, I'm really fearful of my life.
Logan says he was waiting for his dad.
So this man can put a teenager in a chokehold and not get charged for a crime. But you telling me if that young man would have fought back, he would have been fighting aggravated assault charge. He would have been fighting attacking an officer and whatever the fuck they wanted to say, right? So this man can literally attempt to murder this boy and not get charged. This is why people are so fed up with the police, because they can pull stuff like this. This is why police don't care. They can be on camera. They can have their body cam on with the video and whatnot. If these protests weren't going on about George Floyd, these people would not care. And they will be getting away with it. And this young man wouldn't have had eyes on him. He would have just been another victim of the police in Michigan. And he would have grew up with that PTSD of going across 8 Mile or going to work or even seeing the police and tensing up. And as a tax-paying citizen, that should be the last thing on your mind is worrying about is the man or the woman that you paying is going to kill you one day. And this is why I say black people need to come back to Detroit. Yes, it might look good on the outside, but in the inside, it's rotten to the core. All your neighbors are rotting and probably plotting on you, want you out of their neighborhoods. Yeah, I might have to deal with a little this or that, but I don't have to deal with those type of people. And I take my sanity in an abandoned house or a burnt down house over a racist neighbor or a racist cop that can be a neighbor or a murderer. And they may be plotting on you next because they want you out of their neighborhood, believe it or not.
Had to pick him up, sheltering from the rain under the awning of a nearby business when the officer asked for his ID. This is video Logan took from his cell phone of the encounter.
Wait, Dad? Yeah. You want to hear something? Yeah, I work at a firehouse. Oh, you do? Yeah. Okay, what's your name? Logan.
Logan's attorney, David Robinson, says the officer had no legal reason to demand Logan's identification.
Logan, again, had every right to challenge this officer. And to challenge the fact that since he wasn't committing crime, he had no obligation to do anything other than what he did. He told him his first name.
That is illegal. Now you're resisting arrest. And that is illegal, my dad. To be here soon.
Put your hand behind your back.
What is the reason?
What is your reason? You are arresting me because I want your ID. For what crime? I mean, did I do something wrong? Did I commit any crime? Somebody call? What is the problem here? Being black and avoiding the rain is a crime. Remember that. Next time you look for shelter, just walk in the rain. Just go ahead and get sick and put your life in jeopardy with this COVID-19 and you catching the flu and the cold. Just fuck it. Because it's either this is going to kill you or a cop is going to kill you. So remember, walking in the rain, avoiding the rain while black is a crime now.
She says now they want accountability.
It's not okay to treat anyone this way. And people can say, well, he could have just showed the ID, he could have just let it go. How many times does a black person have to be subject to things just because we're black? How many times do we have to let it go?
A billion times.
Against Logan, and the Sterling Heights chief says the officer was ultimately disciplined for not activating his microphone at the start of the dash cam video.
Not fired. Discipline. Something like you do to a kid that doesn't listen. Does that sound like something that he should have been fired? And they should file charges. I really think this man should face at least 10 years for attempted murder. What about you? What about you? Because if this is your son, what would you say? What would you do? Your son calling you, say, Dad, it's raining. I don't feel like walking. I just did fucking 10 hours in this place. Could you please come get me? They lock it down. Shoot, I'm not about to walk in the rain. I'm not about to wait. Black people don't like the rain. So, of course, he looked for shelter and called his dad. Next thing you know, 5 minutes later, he getting choked up. That is horrible. That's the reality. And that's the trauma that young man is going to live through. He's never going to forget that. And when he get older, he's going to teach his kids that. And they're going to teach their kids that. And the police would never get respect. And this family might have actually had some type of respect for the police. And probably listened to, the law. And probably was that black person that was like, we'll just do this and that. But now, when it hit you on your head, you're like, oh shit, this is horrible. Nobody should have to live like this. And you wouldn't be wrong. Nobody should have to live like that. Nobody should have to live in fear just because their skin is darker and they're just out. Just walking or just standing. Just being a fucking human. It's horrible. Let's hope this fucking cop go to prison. That was the show for today. Take care, y'all.